Bill Pearl was one of the judges.
And it's a real scary thing. Very painful and cosmetically deforming.
Number 7. Arnold's 1980 Mr. Olympia victory. Arnold Schwarzenegger's victory at the 1980 Mr. Olympia competition was a significant moment in bodybuilding history. The competition was held in Sydney, Australia, and marked Schwarzenegger's 7th Mr. Olympia win. At the time, he was tied with bodybuilding legend Lee Haney for the most Mr. Olympia wins in history. Leading up to the competition, there was much speculation about whether Schwarzenegger would even compete. He had announced his retirement from bodybuilding in 1975, but then made a comeback in 1980. However, he had reportedly lost a significant amount of muscle mass due to his focus on acting and other projects. Despite these concerns, Schwarzenegger entered the competition and delivered an impressive performance. He had regained much of his muscle mass and looked strong and lean on stage. His posing routine was also noteworthy, as he incorporated elements of acting and storytelling into his routine, which was a departure from the traditional bodybuilding poses. Schwarzenegger's win at the 1980 Mr. Olympia was not without controversy, however. Many believe that he only won due to political factors within the sport of bodybuilding.
Bill Pearl was one of the judges. I was competing in 1980 at the Mr. Olympia and won the competition on the Olympia. I then pulled it off and got the extra points with my posing and won the competition.
Some of his competitors, including Mike Mentzer and Boyer Coe, publicly criticized the decision and claimed that they should have won. Regardless of the controversy, Schwarzenegger's victory at the 1980 Mr. Olympia remains a memorable moment in bodybuilding history. Number 6. Anabolic steroids and PEDs. One of the most controversial moments in bodybuilding history is the widespread use of anabolic steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs, or PEDs, in the sport. These substances have been a part of bodybuilding since the early days, with many bodybuilders using them to enhance their muscle mass, strength, and overall physique. Anabolic steroids are synthetic substances that mimic the effects of testosterone, the male sex hormone. They work by increasing protein synthesis, which leads to muscle growth and improved recovery. Other PEDs commonly used in bodybuilding include human growth hormone, insulin, and diuretics. While the use of these substances was initially kept under wraps, it eventually became more and more widespread in the bodybuilding community. The 1980s and 90s saw a surge in the use of steroids and other PEDs, with many bodybuilders openly admitting to using them. This led to increased scrutiny of the sport and concerns over the safety and health of the athletes. In the early 2000s, several high-profile cases of steroid use in bodybuilding made headlines, including the Balco scandal and the investigation of the Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative. Despite the controversy and health risks associated with their use, steroids and other PEDs continue to be used by many bodybuilders and fitness enthusiasts. Number 5. Women's bodybuilding. The rise of women's bodybuilding and the arguments over gender and muscularity rank among the most controversial periods in bodybuilding history. Women's bodybuilding first gained attention in the 1970s with the formation of the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness Women's Committee. Initially, women's bodybuilding was viewed as a natural extension of men's bodybuilding, and women competed in the same events and categories as men. However, as the sport evolved, some began to question whether the level of muscularity required for women's bodybuilding was healthy or aesthetically pleasing. In response to these concerns, the IFBB eventually created a separate women's bodybuilding division, with its own competitions and categories. However, this division continued to be controversial, as some argued that the emphasis on extreme muscularity was still present, and that the sport was promoting an unrealistic and unhealthy standard for women's bodies. The controversy surrounding women's bodybuilding also intersected with debates around gender and the definition of femininity. Some argued that women's bodybuilding was a progressive step towards breaking down gender norms and allowing women to express themselves physically in ways that had been traditionally reserved for men. Others, however, saw it as an attempt to masculinize women and erase the qualities that made them uniquely feminine. Number 4. Synthol injections. Synthol injections have been one of the most controversial moments in bodybuilding history due to their dangerous and unnatural effects on the body. Synthol is a site enhancement oil, which is injected into the muscles to create the appearance of larger muscle size and definition. However, the results are often grotesque and can lead to serious health problems. Synthol injections gained popularity in the 1990s and early 2000s, particularly in the bodybuilding community. The use of synthol was seen as a shortcut to achieving a muscular physique without the hard work and dedication required for natural muscle growth. Some bodybuilders use synthol to enhance specific muscle groups, such as the biceps, triceps, or shoulders, which can give an unnatural and disproportionate look to the body. However, the use of synthol is highly controversial and has been widely criticized by experts and professional bodybuilders.
And difficult, if not impossible, to remove. The immune system can wall off various aspects of the silicone and form nodules. They can be, and it's a real scary thing. Very painful and cosmetically deforming.
The injections can cause permanent damage to the muscles, nerves, and blood vessels, leading to disfigurement, pain, and even demise. Synthol use is often associated with cheating and dishonesty in the bodybuilding world. Number 3. Demise of Andreas Munzer. Andreas Munzer was an Austrian professional bodybuilder who competed in the 1990s. He was known for his extremely lean and defined physique, as well as his dedication to the sport. However, Munzer's life came to a tragic end at the young age of 31, and his demise remains one of the most controversial and tragic moments in bodybuilding history. Munzer began competing in bodybuilding contests in the mid-1980s and quickly gained a reputation for his incredible conditioning and dedication to the sport. He won several regional competitions in Europe before earning his IFBB professional card in 1989. Throughout the early 1990s, Munzer continued to compete at the highest level of the sport, including in the Mr. Olympia competition. However, as his career progressed, there were concerns about his extreme conditioning and the length he was going to in order to achieve his level of muscularity and definition. In 1996, Munzer collapsed while preparing for the Night of Champions competition in New York City. He was rushed to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with multiple organ failure and placed on life support. Despite the efforts of medical professionals, Munzer passed away just a few hours later. Number 2. Bodybuilding judging criteria. Bodybuilding judging criteria are the standards by which competitors are evaluated in bodybuilding competitions. While these criteria can vary slightly depending on the competition and the judges, they generally include factors such as size, symmetry, conditioning, and posing. Size refers to the amount of muscle mass a competitor has developed. Judges are looking for a balanced and proportionate physique, not just a bulked-up body. Symmetry is the even distribution of muscle mass on both sides of the body, creating a visually pleasing and proportional appearance. Conditioning refers to the competitor's level of body fat, with judges looking for a lean and defined physique. Finally, posing is the way the competitor displays their physique, showcasing their muscularity and creating an aesthetic presentation. The subjective nature of bodybuilding judging has led to numerous controversies over the years. Competitors and fans often disagree on the importance of each factor, and debates over who the right winner should be are common. Some argue that the emphasis on size and mass has led to a loss of the aesthetic ideal that bodybuilding originally represented. Others believe that conditioning has become too extreme, with competitors pushing their bodies to unhealthy levels of leanness. Number 1. Flex Wheeler's kidney transplant. Flex Wheeler's kidney transplant was a significant and controversial moment in bodybuilding history. In 2003, the legendary bodybuilder was forced to withdraw from the Mr. Olympia competition due to complications from his long-standing battle with kidney disease. The news of his condition sent shockwaves throughout the bodybuilding community and sparked debates about the use of performance-enhancing drugs and their potential impact on athletes' health. Despite the controversy, Wheeler's kidney transplant was a moment of hope and inspiration for many in the bodybuilding community. He was able to successfully receive a kidney transplant from his friend and fellow bodybuilder, George Farah, and went on to compete again in the Mr. Olympia competition in 2004, earning a 4th place finish. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.